Okay, so our lead analysis went well, and a few features that I want to go over for your understanding, because they're like hugely beneficial, is once an analysis is run with using Insight 360, essentially what it's using, but once it generates these graphics, there's no need to rerun the analysis to get additional results. So if I go into the edit style, I see that I have, this whole list of other analysis. So let's say I wanted to look at lighting analysis, just pass fail. That's all fail. Or if I wanted to look at solar access, it quickly provides me a legend and graphic for that. Now, this is great. It saves analysis time. It doesn't force me to have to reconfigure anything. The only I don't even want to call it a downside, but what I would need to do is if I wanted to look at this maybe, so I just updated this for solar access, but those results are associated with the settings that I used for this lead 2009, which if I click on, I don't want that, but if I'm trying to figure out how to, alright, so I'm just going to go, okay, just to get me to these results again, because we see that this was ran for 3 p.m. September 15th and 9 a.m. September 15th. Well, great, but what if I want other results outside these sort of boundary conditions, right, of what lead is? Well, we can do a few different things, one of which is to do, rather than the lead analysis, do the illuminance analysis. So for this, we're going to do the illuminance analysis. We're going to select just one level of interest. I'm going to select the second floor, and then to define the environmental condition, I've got to go and I've got to define the sky model. Now, I believe the readings I assigned to you for this mod will discuss this. So I'm going to select, that's not what I need. I'm reviewing your assignment sheets. So I am going to select June 21st, the summer solstice, which essentially you're doing an analysis for the summer solstice, the winter solstice, and the equinox. And this should give us a pretty good feeling for what's going to happen throughout the year with those three conditions. I'm going to go for 8 a.m. To then 5 p.m. for this sort of perceived operating times. We want to use the weather data, right? Because that was the point of geographically locating it. Then click apply. Sure, I'll be emailed when it's done. Now this threshold range, we're going to use foot candles for this. And how we're going to define the illuminance settings is, first off, we want to define the analysis plane. So I've got this set to 32 inches, which is like the standard work plane. Just guessing. I mean, I'm treating this like an office building, so 32 inches would be standard for that. In other scenarios, we may want to alter this. I talked previously for considering maybe a children's classroom. Surfaces would be lower. If we're considering maybe someone working up higher, the work plane could be higher too. It varies. For the threshold range, what I would like for you to do, and I have this listed as a resource in the references of this module, is This is a foot candle light guide. It's straight from, this is the Lighting Design Lab, but they use just IES, Illuminating Engineering Society standards, which is what a lot of things use. And so you want to identify what your use is. I mean, we can even see that, they provide the differences in the analysis plane. And this is how we're going to define this sort of boundary. So this building I'm working on is an office. Perhaps you have something else. But I'm going to be looking at an open office. So let's see here. Range of mounted foot candles, average maintained foot candles. That's what I want, is the average. This will be for horizontal across the ceiling, not vertically on the walls. So I want 40. So over here, I'm going to put my lower as 0, and then my upper, I'm going to say, we'll say 60. That way we can see if there's areas that are significantly over, but primarily we're concerned with areas that are under. I'm going to go for the larger analysis grid, the 72-inch analysis grid, and I'm going to do this first analysis using the daylight factor sky, I believe. Let me just double check again, want to make sure that it corresponds to what I told you. In the assignment, yes, daylight factor sky. So this is going to measure the daylight factor, click apply, check price, and then start the analysis. Now these results are going to be different than what I got with the lead. Not just numerically different, but the graphic presentation. And I'll show you that once it gets done. Okay, so the analysis got done running, and a few things. So it updated my analysis results within the actual Revit modeling environment, because now all the analysis that's done is corresponding to whatever settings are associated with this more recent analysis. I ran a few other ones because I was testing some stuff. So we have two options. One is we can update this legend. So we can create a new legend, and we'll just call it foot candle analysis. We're gonna go color legend, steps between, we'll say 10, and it's literally letting me set the maximum value. But it works, so just tops out at 20.9. So that's good. I mean, this is a decent way to get to this, right? Because it's ending at 5 p.m. what we set up, and this is a totally legitimate way to do it. However, we also have, if I go to view, I can go to the what's called the rendered gallery, and let me bring this over, and this actually brings up renderings I've ran. So my most recent would be here, and there it is. For whatever reason, when this sort of analysis is done, it seems to generate 3 different ones at different resolutions. We see this is 110 by 110, this is 292 by 214, and this is 294 by 214. So they're all slightly different, I guess, and you can just click download here to download it, and save. We see that it put the units in lux, even though we requested candle feet. but that's life. That's what happens, I suppose. And these blue ones are my initial daylight factor, which it makes sense that it showed up all blue because quite honestly, daylight factor is best done over an entire year rather than a single day. So the benefit to this sort of cloud is I can run multiple iterations at once. So I can start a new one, I can run an illuminance, then I can select my second floor, and so then I'm going to keep all this stuff the same. I decided to bump this up to 100 feet, and then I could just define an alternate sky, say overcast, apply, check price, start analysis, then it starts running, then I can go here and do another, click OK, change this to second floor again, change this to, I don't know, cleared. I mean, when you're doing your assignment, you want to be working in some methodical order, because as you can see, we're not getting the opportunity to sort of name these more specifically. I mean, except for in here, right? We can go into the analysis list manager, so then we could name this what it is. So we're essentially looking at different skies. So maybe I will call this one the CIE overcast, rename, click go, and I'm going to wait for the current daylight to finish. Then when it comes to output, right, we can adjust our legend here so it's fixed, and then just toggle between the different runs that we want, naming them correspondingly. So if I want the overcast sky, actually I should probably name this overcast sky, the date. So let's do this one properly. So we're going to say run new analysis, and this is going to be our clear sky, and it's going to run from June 1st to, or June 21st to June 21st. Click apply, save, just say start analysis, and lighting, continue. Gives this one. That's the weird thing. So I'm going to come over in here and rename the whole thing. So June overcast sky, June 21st. Rename. Okay. I'm just going to wait for it to get done, but I can keep kind of getting all these sort of analysis in queue to look at all these different sky settings that I have requested in the assignment. But it's just a matter of going through and setting the different settings and running them. Now, I can get the results here, which I really recommend because we have graphic control over the legend, and we could just sort of set this up for a fixed thing and just toggle through the different settings here to get, I'm just going to say cancel, and see it updated to be 131. So I need to look at those settings because that would be January. But whatever. So that's one option. That's the option I recommend, is going through here, running the new analysis, settings, titling them. Okay, that's why, because I got rid of that. So, okay. So do that, do this, clear sky. Yes, this is what I want. So we let it run. Alright. But what I can also do, if you're really organized with the way you're sending these into the cloud, is you go in the render gallery and you can download your different versions and do a comparison that way. I don't care for this because nothing's really labeled. It's easy to get confused. It's the unit of measures and locks. We wanted foot candles. It's good to do. I mean, it's easy to do a conversion. The benefit to the cloud results is we can batch and get a lot of scenarios very quickly without having to wait for this to get done processing and update the legend. But me personally, that's not a big deal because I prefer things to look maybe like this rather than this, but that's just a personal preference. It's up to you. I just care that on your assignment you look at all these different scenarios. So for each sky, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6 daylight factor, you will have 3 dates with this time range. So you'll have 18 images total for this cloud-based illuminates analysis. The reason for that is I'm not just trying to have you guys do a bunch of work, but we're interested in studying the analysis results of using these different skies, and I want to begin to get you familiar with what does it really mean graphically if we assume a uniform sky versus an intermediate sky or an overcast sky. Right? It's going to influence the results, and as you grow professionally, if you decide to pursue this path of sort of building science and building simulation more, you'll get more into strategically choosing what sky type to use for an analysis. This is useful as well if a reliable climate file or weather file is not available. But anyhow, that's how this section is completed, the cloud-based illuminates analysis. So that's that.